If you're thinking of taking a trip soon, there's some bad news out there. The cost of flying is going up in 2011. The good news is travel editor Peter Greenberg is here now with some tricks to beat the system on land, air, or sea. Peter, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning, Chris.
So let's talk about it. We're barely just days into 2011 right now, and already airlines, for instance, are already jacking up fees.
They are. About $10 a flight, maybe sometimes $20 a round trip. American Express already predicts that airfares are going to go up between 2% and 6% this year. I think that's a conservative figure. I think it'll even go higher. Hotel rates between 3% and 7%. But that's just the beginning, because the airlines have shrunk capacity. If they're filling 87% of their seats, they can certainly raise fares because people are going to need to fly.
There's a little bit of a turf war going on out there right now.
Oh, it's not a little bit of a war. It's a big war right now, because as the airlines fill all those seats, they're not inclined to give away the fares to other websites, otherwise known as OTAs, the online travel agencies like Orbitz or Expedia.
Yeah.
Last month, American delisted Orbitz from listing their flights on its website, and just this week, Expedia delisted American's flights. Delta's taken its name off 3 or 4 other low-fare websites. What that means is the airlines are trying to bring all the pricing back onto their own websites, and you know what that means. I'm sorry, that's not like a news bulletin in terms of economic history. Law of supply and demand. If the airlines control the pricing on their websites, fares are going to go higher.
How tough is this on the consumer?
It's going to get tougher because it allows us less and less chance for comparison shopping. Yeah. We can't go. Now, there are other alternatives, and that's why I'm here today to talk about that. Yeah.
We talk about the fees that airlines cost. $4 billion alone last year, and everything from baggage fees to paying for a blanket on the airline.
I think they should charge us $40 to wear the hazmat suit just to touch the blanket. But forgetting that, the bottom line is those fees are going to go even higher because they can. Now, we don't have to pay for those fees. We can always opt out, but they're there, and they're earning the money.
You say people can beat the system, and you do have some ways that people can kind of navigate ways of booking trips and doing it a little bit more affordably.
One of the things is don't just depend on the web. The myth is that all the inventory is on the websites. It's not. I'll give you an example. I saw an airfare, the cheapest, lowest coach airfare on American Airlines from Los Angeles to New York last minute, $739. I called the American Airlines phone number. What a concept. I talked to a human being. I got it for $218. Why? Because on certain routes they were matching Virgin America, but they weren't doing it on the website. You always can talk to a human being because they have inventory there that's not necessarily released. And by the way, that also applies to hotels. Calling an 800 number for a hotel is not going to help you out. It's going to a clearinghouse. They have no negotiating ability. People
look at me like I'm crazy sometimes, but I cannot stand booking anything online. I always do it by talking to a person.
Well, you can always research online, talk to a human being, and then if you can do it better on the website, you can. There are some websites I still like. One is Kayak. I'll give you an example. I went on the US Air website the other day to try to get a fare from New York to Washington, D.C. The cheapest fare on any of their 1-hour shuttle flights the entire day was $296 each way. Let's do the math. You can go to London for that, okay? I then went to Kayak, found the exact same fare on actually the exact same flight that I wanted to find, $51. That's a huge disparity in fares.
Got to do a little research.
And there's one more website I'll tell you about. It's based in Denmark. Nobody even knows it. It's called Momondo. That's M-O-M-O-N-D-O. Also has stuff in there that other websites don't have.
Okay, you've got some great little getaways, too, that people may not be too familiar with. And the first you say is Alabama.
Yeah, those guys got hit hard last year, not because of the oil spill, but because of the perception of the oil spill. Their revenues dropped 41%. They're going to have a great summer this year. Why? Because they're discounting lots of stuff available. Beachfront condos for $900 a month. Do the math.
And let's talk about cruises, too, because they take a little bit of a hit, because a lot of times the only time you hear about cruises is if they break down or if there's a norovirus epidemic.
$249 for a 5-night cruise to the Caribbean, $299 for a 7-night cruise in the Caribbean. You can't afford to wake up in Topeka for that.
And also, South Africa was so popular during the World Cup. So many people flocked down.
But here's the news bulletin. World Cup's over. Hotels need to be filling rooms. The Taj Hotel in Cape Town, $736 a night during the World Cup. $360 now. You can even get a room at the Holiday Inn now for $90 a night in Cape Town. That is a great way to go.
Always great advice, Peter. Really good to see you this morning once again. Happy New Year to you, too.
Same to you, sir.